Hi guys, right, so I've got a little question for you. So, can you remember a time, or when was the last time that you picked yourself a fitness related goal? Now, that could be either to lose some weight, build some muscle, run a certain distance, or whatever it is. And you pick this goal, that's what you've been told to do, or the fitness experts or the fitness pros say, pick a goal, work towards that goal, kill it, smash it, all that sort of motivational stuff. And you start moving towards it, it gets a little tricky, something either gets in the way, or basically life gets in the way. You start feeling a little bit disheartened, and eventually you give up, and it hasn't really worked out for you. So what do? Maybe you pick another goal and you try again, and you pick another goal and you try again, or maybe you succeed at that goal, and at the end, you were promised this big pot of wonderful joy, and you got there, and for a moment it was great, and you were really happy with how you looked, or whatever it is that you projected into the world. But then after a while, that novelty sort of quickly wears off, and it sort of dwindles away, and before you know it, you slip back into previous habits, thought patterns and things like that, and before you know it, you're right back at the start, and you're looking for another set of goals to bring you back and redeliver that buzz, that excitement that you previously had. And if this happens, like, you're not on your own. You are definitely not on your own. This is rife everywhere. I fell victim to this too, and this is something that happens all of the time. And there's a reason for that. We'll get into that a little bit later, but there's a reason why this traditional goal setting situation doesn't work, and the reason why it doesn't work is because we don't understand our why. We don't know why we are trying to achieve what we're trying to achieve. Yes, you might want to lose some body weight. Yes, you might build some muscle, and yes, you might want to run a 5k or a 10k or a marathon, whatever it is. But if you don't know why you are doing it, when you achieve it, or if you achieve it, then it's never going to taste as sweet. Likewise, when it gets difficult, you're going to rely on external motivation in order to get you there. But if you understand why you want to do it, the real critical why of it, the reason behind your goal, then you are going to be much more internally motivated to move yourself forward. And all of a sudden, those little barriers that you need to get over are a lot easier to get over. So that's what we're going to look at today. We're actually going to look at the reason why, the why behind your goals. When we start out on our fitness journey, or partway through our fitness journey, or maybe all of it really, we normally have this idea of fitness and what that looks like to us. Normally with what that looks like comes with a set of feelings. What does that look and feel like to us? And when I ask this question, it normally stops people and they have a little think about it, because normally we say, I want to lose weight, or I want to gain muscle, but we never really question why we want to do that. So when I dive in and I ask a little bit deeper, what does that look like to you? And what I'm talking about there is not what it visually looks like in terms of aesthetics. What I'm saying is, what does that look like? What does this character have in terms of a set of behaviors? What kind of things are these doing? And what does this feel like to them? And that's what I'm trying to get to, because that runs far deeper than just the superficial, I want to lose some weight. Because if we understand what a set of characteristics looks like and feels like, then it starts getting into the reason why we are trying to do something. And it's much more personal to you as a person, or me, I guess, if it was down to me. Usually this sense of feeling is a sense of fulfillment and happiness that comes with this. So, someone might say, I want to lose weight. Okay, brilliant. Okay, well, why do we want to lose weight? What does this look like? And what they want to achieve is operate through a daily life without falling victim to temptation, being able to control their emotions, being able to proceed through their life and just go to the gym and feel strong, have a sense of strength within them. Or maybe go for a run without sort of coughing up a lung, and you want to feel fit and you want to feel healthy. It's quite a subjective feeling that's relative to the individual. And that is fitness. Fitness is subjective and it is relative to the individual. Yes, we can have some health markers around strength, relative strength, some aerobic and conditioning health markers around heart rate variability, resting heart rate. And yes, absolutely, we can have some markers around body fat, so making sure that your body fat is within a healthy range, preventable diseases. All these things are very, very true, but this sense of fitness and what you want to be fit for is entirely relevant to the individual. But we very rarely, if ever, really question that or even think about that. But what does happen all of the time is that we search for this sense of fulfillment through Instagram, through sports people that we admire, and through YouTube, or basically sort of like fitness inspiration. We look at it and we assign this sense of fulfillment and happiness and joy and a sense of well-being, and we assign it to how something looks. So we might see someone with the shiniest of six packs and the whitest of teeth and the bronziest of skin, and you might assume that they have all their shit together, but they might not. And also, the kind of fitness models, it's kind of their job to look like that. But anyway, psychologically, we've assigned this joy, this happiness to this. So in your mind, you make that link of, well, they're smiling happy, therefore if I look like this, then I'm going to feel the same. And we see this played out everywhere. When we seek this out, when we start searching for this, then we become victim to basically the fitness industry. It is an industry, and part of this industry is to basically sell you this idea, this ideal to you, in the form of, well, here's a six pack and here's some white teeth and some shininess, and it can be yours in 6 weeks for this price if you follow this and do this and do this, and if you don't achieve it, you didn't commit yourself, it was your fault, and you haven't wanted it enough. And let's say you did want it enough and you achieved it, you spent that 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 pounds, whatever it is, on that whatever week boot camp, and you've achieved it. But then you slip back into your old habits. We go back and try and chase it again, so we might return back to the same boot camp. Or maybe we don't want to pay that anymore. Or maybe we'll try something else, and we'll end up dabbling in these endless things out there, these endless quick fixes, completely different diets, ideology-based diets, hard calorie deficit diets, and we'll try different workout programs and all these different tools, I guess, in order to achieve this image that we have in our mind. The reality of it is fitness, like happiness, is not a thing you can just simply go and achieve. You don't achieve a certain level and all of a sudden all your dreams and all your wishes and everything comes true. It's a constant state of being. It leads within each other. So how this works is we go out and achieve a little bit, and that feels good, and we go out and do it a little bit more, and we go out and do a little bit more, and our natural internal motivation will allow us to build up. And that process of doing is very, very motivating to us. If you listen to it, if you allow yourself to win, if you allow yourself to set the appropriate targets and goals, micro goals, not these big, I'm going to look like this goals, then we can achieve it. But in order to do this, we must understand the reason why we are doing it in the first place. And I've seen this cycle play out again and again and over and over and over again. And to be honest with you, there's a better way of doing it, and this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. Basically, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because the current strategy, the current methodology doesn't work. And we know it doesn't work because the reality is we've got more money than we have ever had. We've got, well, apart from right now, we've got access to gyms 24 hours a day. We've got access to the best foods. We've got endless free programs online. But for some weird reason, we're getting more obese and we're getting more depressed. So the current set of circumstances, so our current tools that we use just simply aren't working, are they? And there's stacking evidence that basically sort of like changing your behavior, changing your mindset and your vision of who you are, the stories that we tell ourselves, does deliver on that. So that's what this is, and that is why I'm doing this. And I think it's crucial that you understand why you're doing it, the reason why behind your goal. So how you get there and understand this is actually quite straightforward. So what you do is you're going to need a pen and paper. So you're going to write down what your goal is. So that could be, I want to run, I want to lose some weight, I want to build some muscle, whatever it is. Write that down. Then ask yourself why that is important to you. Just have a think about that. Not why you're doing it, but why is it important to you? And there's a reason for that question. Because if we understand why it's important to us, it will quickly tap into a deeper reason why we're doing it. If you're not used to this, you might have to ask yourself this good 2 or 3 times in order to get to that why. And then not only that, you might get to that why, and then in a few months' time, you might have to re-ask you those questions because you would have learned more about yourself. But once you understand why it's important to you and understand why you want to do this and why you want to be fit and why you want to be healthy, what is the real reason behind it, then look at your current strategy. Does your current tools support that. Bearing in mind that fitness is not an end goal, it's a state of being. So does your current setup support your why? If not, then you need to start thinking about changing the setup. This is something we can look at in other videos further down the line. If you want any help with this, by the way, feel free to comment below and I'll get back to you as quickly as I possibly can, and I'll help, because I think this is truly important. Once we understand why we want to do something, then we can start going ahead and maybe your current strategy doesn't support this. We can actually start playing and trying other strategies that help us move forward and make the doing much more enjoyable. And when we hit those barriers, we can get over them with much more ease and with much more internal motivation and internal determination than we could previously. So we're more likely to stick to it. If we're more likely to stick to it and express and show discipline, we have this sense of winning. And if we have this sense of winning, we're more likely to continue. So this is why it's super important to understand why you want to do what it is that you're doing. Now it's over to you. So just do that. So write your goal and ask yourself why it's important to you, and really go to town. So you might have to ask yourself that 3 or 4 times, why it's important to you. Why is it important to you? Why is it important to you? And eventually you will get there. You absolutely will get there. And once you are there, ask yourself, is my current strategy really working for me or against me? If it's working against you, explore other strategies that are more in line with your why. Once you understand that link, once you understand the strategy and the link, I guarantee you that getting over those barriers become much more simple, much more straightforward, because you're much more determined to get over there, and because you will win far more frequently. And as a result, the fitness, the joy and the happiness will simply be part of the journey. It's a state of being, not something we can achieve. So take your time, really understand why it is that you're doing what you're doing. It's over to you now. Get out that pen and paper, give that a go, and I will catch you next week.